I'll try to cover today are 2 points. One is product life cycle and adoption, and the second part is the different kinds of models that are there in terms of agile, kanban, waterfall, all of that. So we'll quickly skim through the different kind of models, and then we'll move on to the specific parts which I think you may be asked during interviews and which really matter, uh, which is epics, stories, and how do you calculate where you are, and sprint velocity, all of that, right? So let's get
Satyaki,
started.
one
Yeah,
one question before you begin,
sure. Yeah,
because I was not there in the presentation for the last Saturday.
sure,
Uh,
sure.
in the Dropbox case, there were different stages, and so what I wanted to understand is these different models. Is it that a company would stick to one model, or they can opt for different models at different times?
For software delivery.
Yes, like waterfall, agile. So is that so the company can make a shift from one model to another? Yes, but at the same time, is it that if they are using one model, or if they are making a shift to another model, they will be sticking to that? Or is it that at an inception phase, a company can offer a different model, and then as and when the company grows, they will be shifting to different models?
So my genuine take on that is that I don't think it's something that gets written in stone that if you're following agile, we'll follow agile, or if you're following whatever. A lot of it depends on what's the new fad that is going on, because I think for a long while waterfall was the fad, and then people realized that, oh, there is this newer iterative approach that we can come up with, and then they came up with a bunch of various kinds of frameworks, agile, within agile also, scrum xp, all of that. So uh, depends a lot on what's the fact that is going on, and the second is what works for an organization. Sometimes you have to uh, you know check out a few options and then lock in that, okay, this seems to be working. And third, once usually what happens is once a company has decided that let's stick with it, usually it sticks for some time, but then it also depends on the scale of the organization. If it's a very large company, then if once you have done a company wide change, then it tends to stick, because you cannot re- change the entire culture internally very frequently. However, for startups, what I've seen is the models usually go for a toss in a few months, and then because uh, things there are things on fire like one after the other, and uh, one of the underlying principles of these models are that you are restricted in terms of scope of development, that okay, over the next 2 weeks this is what we'll do, we'll lock it in, right? And that is something that usually doesn't tend to stick in startups. So it depends a lot on the company, the what's the fad, all of that, and what's working, what's not working. But personally, I don't prefer following any of the models. It's something that I am a little uh, how do I say it? I'm not very comfortable with the fact that things will not change. However, there is a what it does is it brings some form of uniformity into your development process, which is something that should be replicated. But I've never been able to feel completely at ease with the fact that okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'm locking it in, right? Because things tend to the ground realities tend to shift. So yeah. So to answer your question in one line, it really depends. I mean, there's nothing set in stone that once a company has picked a model, they have to stick with it for the next 50 years.